This Habs prospect update is crazy, and while all the great updates about Demidov, Hudson, Reinbach, or whoever are getting a lot of attention and deservedly so, a recent update for Oliver Kapanen, including the plan for him this season, has a lot of Habs fans absolutely hyped. This is crazy what we just heard from his coach Ole Jokinen. We got to get into that. Plus, on the recent episode of 32 Thoughts, Elliotte Friedman said he watched Slav train in Slovakia, and he said he looked like a monster. Plus, guys, we're almost at the season. The Habs rookie camp roster has been revealed. We're going to go into all the players that are going to be going there on this episode of Habs Digest, and we're going to jump straight into the rookie camp. And guys, the season is almost here. It's almost time for Habs hockey again. The rookie camp roster is revealed today. The actual training camp starting about a couple of weeks from now, 12 days from the recording of this video. Not sure when you're watching. Could be today, could be tomorrow. I don't know. But the big thing here today is that the rookie camp roster was revealed, and we'll go through some of these guys. So at forward, I'm not going to go through every single one, but there's a lot of familiar names. You got guys like Beck, Heineman, Kidney. You got Tyler Thorpe there as well. There's a lot of big guys here, right? Tyler Thorpe, Fleury, and Xhekaj. Good to see Luke Tuch there as well on defense. Man, you got some crazy good defense there. Engstrom, Hudson, Mailloux, Protz, who has a monopoly on violence, and David Reinbacher, and of course Quentin Miller and Samuel Richard in net. And one quote by Scott Wheeler, he kind of highlighted this very, very well. He said, I've seen some pretty good rookie tournament rosters over the years, but I'm not sure I can remember a top four that looked like this could look. Hudson, Reinbacher, Engstrom, Mailloux. That could legit, in a couple of years from now, be a very solid, I don't know if I'd say very solid top four in the NHL, but I mean, if the prospects turn out the way we want them to, it certainly could. Hudson, Reinbacher, I mean, just with their draft pedigree and their potential right now, could very well be a top pairing in the NHL in a number of years. So this is really crazy to see, and I keep calling it prospect camp tournament. I don't know, I lose track of the names sometimes, but what I do know is there are going to be some games against the Leafs at the Bell Center. There's a lot of people getting ready to go. Unfortunately, I won't be there, but man, I'm beyond excited to see these players show out. I'm going to show the roster again. And as we mentioned a couple videos ago, Fleury and Xhekaj is a big one here, but I am actually personally really excited for Tyler Thorpe. Now, you guys know I love Tyler Thorpe. I think he's just one of those guys that, you know, he just rubs you the right way. Same thing with Logan Sawyer, who's not here, because Logan Sawyer's going to the NCAA. That's also why Fowler's not here, if you were wondering. But, you know, there's a few other guys that aren't here, like Joshua Roy, and we'll get into another certain guy, Oliver Kapanen, a bit later in the video. But I want you to leave a comment down below. Out of everyone here, who are you most excited to see in camp? And, you know, some of you are probably going to say the high-profile names, like a Hudson, like an Engstrom. We're going to see these guys here. I don't know why I picked Engstrom, but he's really good. But like for me, it's just to see what a guy like Tyler Thorpe can do at this stage, you know? Some of these guys that are maybe a bit underrated, and especially Fleury and Xhekaj, like myself and Jesse have talked about. There's so many good things that could come out of this. I'm just really excited to see him play on the ice. I feel like I've said I'm excited about 10 times in this video already, and that should just show you this palpable, this feeling of excitement? Should I use that word again? I don't know, but everything. It's like adrenaline going through my soul here, waiting for the season to start. I cannot wait. This is the great first step, and I can't wait to see how they do coming up this weekend. I think it's this weekend, and then how the actual training camp goes in just a few weeks from now. But we're going to quickly move on to something else, and the guy who's finally back on the ice over in North America, and it's Slav. And oh boy. Oh my goodness. This quote from Elliotte Friedman on 32 Thoughts. By the way, the first episode of 32 Thoughts today, without Jeff Merrick, it's Kyle Bukauskas is the new co-host. I thought it was quite good. So go give it a listen. I'll link it down below. The Habs talk starts at about 33 minutes. There's a great Johnny Gaudreau bit, a little bit of a tribute just before it as well. So I highly recommend you go check it out. But I digress. We're going to get into this Habs stuff here. So first of all, Slav is back in North America. I saw this posted online, and I had to bring up this picture. But I want to actually get to Elliotte Friedman's quote. So we're going to start here with this. He said, "We were in Europe with Slafkovsky, and he looks like a monster." And then he went on to say that he looks like a beast. This was after one sentence in between. So he really thinks he's big. He looks like a monster. He looks like a beast, like an absolute beast. I think he has a big season. But you know who else is a beast? Well, it's Slavzilla's a beast. That's right. I mean, Slafkovsky, he's already impressed people with his size and, you know, honestly, his ability to adjust to that NHL game so far. Because when he first started, I mean, we say this all the time, but he kind of looked like a deer in headlights. His legs were kind of buckling underneath him, but now he learned how to use his size. It feels like he never loses a board battle. And to hear that now he looks like even more of a monster, and we still see him coming to training camp, he's like, this dude is, oh, I'm going to do that. This dude is confident out of his mind right now. So, I mean, look, I am excited for a Slav season, as Elliotte Friedman is. He said he thinks he has a big season. And I'm wondering how other fan bases are feeling about Slav too. Because again, 40 points in his last 50 games, I'm pretty sure is what he did. So to see him come back even bigger, better, stronger, not to mention having better teammates this year. Not necessarily line mates, because Suzuki and Caufield are almost certainly, at least to start the year, going to be his line mates. Though at the same time, these guys are still improving, just like Slaf is. But also on the power play, this is going to be probably a slightly overhauled power play. You're almost certainly going to see Line A get lots of reps on the first power play. You're going to have Dach for a full season. I think it's just a primer for Slav to have a big season, not to mention how he's going to be able to use his size to, again, win more board battles, hit more players, and maybe be a bit more effective defensively, even though he wasn't even bad this past season. So all these things together just make it seem like Slav's in for a big year. And hey, when Elliot Friedman says that, you know you're in for something special. But we're going to move on to the final topic of this video, and I'm ready for Oliver Kapanen. This is, like, look, Oliver Kapanen, he, of course, won the good graces in all of our hearts when he went out to that World Championship and put up, 6 goals in 7 games, 6 goals in 6 games. He was the leader in the tournament for goals for a little while. Habs fans, including myself, got very excited. He was doing not only the big things right in terms of getting goals, but all the little things right as well. He was solid defensively, good on the face-off top. Man, love everything about Oliver Kapanen. And, Ole Jokinen over the past few weeks, his head coach over in Timrå in the SHL, has been saying, like, man, I think Kapanen's really good. I think he could maybe, steal a spot in the Habs training camp. And, well, I just want to show you something that he said in a recent interview, because he has certainly not backed down from those comments. Just listen to this. I'm going to bring this up. It's cool to see Ole Jokinen, too. I mean, it's been a while since he's been in the league. So, former All-Star, by the way. It's going to either be Montreal or Timrå for Oliver because of the agreement in his contract. Here, we'll be using him as a first-line center with power play and penalty kill time. Well, look, if you want a prospect to develop, at 21 years old, you're going to be a first-line center in the SHL playing power play and penalty kill. There's not many better ways to do it, but that's not all. He's been too good for our league so far this preseason. Playing like a dominant force in every single game. He's been great offensively, scoring goals, defensively, face-off circle, which will be his biggest advantage going to Montreal. He's the type of player you can put anywhere because his hockey sense is very high. And this last one's great. Simple, short and sweet. After watching him play so far, I think he could be one of the best forwards in the SHL this season. I'm counting on him stealing a spot at the Canadiens camp. Now, those are some crazy words of praise. I keep accidentally flashing this Jesse thing up. I'm sorry. It's muscle memory. I keep saying every time I do a video alone, I miss him. Anyway, Oliver Kapanen. This guy is like going to be better than we all think. Like when you hear your coach, like, it's one thing to say, oh, this player is really good. It's another thing for him to, throughout this whole article, that's linked down below, by the way, Marco D'Amico at rg.org there. You go take a read. There's a lot more stuff in it, but to have your coach, a former NHL All-Star, not only say, yeah, he's really good, but to say he's one of the best forwards in the SHL. This league looks too easy for him. He'll be our first-line center playing power play and penalty kill all season, and you're literally planning. He says they have a plan in place because they fully expect Kapanen to be so good at training camp that he steals a roster spot. Not that there. I wanted to bring up this here. Now, people think this is the third line. I think when you're talking about the preseason in the SHL, I think they just kind of mix which line starts the game. I think that's what you see up top. But regardless, you can see Kapanen playing there. And if you guys were wondering why he's not at rookie camp, this is why. This way. That's why. Because he's still playing preseason over in the SHL. And guess what? He's playing like one of the best players in the SHL there during the preseason. There's something special going on with Oliver Kapanen that, we like to have hype, but we're cautiously optimistic about these prospects that are maybe not that super high profile. Like, we are extremely optimistic about Demidov, about a guy like Hudson who has proven everything, another guy like Reinbacher who's such a high draft pedigree, right? All these guys. For someone like Kapanen, who was very much a sleeper prospect for a long time, we got pretty hype after that World Championship. You're kind of like, okay, this guy's good. Like, he's actually really good. And then, last season during the playoffs, you're like, man, yeah, before the World Championship, you're like, okay, that was actually a really good playoffs. Oh, he's great in the World Championship. Let's hold our horses, though we don't know. And then former NHL All-Star, his head coach is like, he's just straight up one of the best players in the league. He's 21. He's a first-line center. He literally does it all, and I'm expecting him to get taken by Montreal. Absolutely insane. What do you guys think? Whose roster spot would he even take at this point? Because there's not much room down the middle. If you give Newhook that second-line wing role, like with Line A and Dach, then you still got Dvorak and Evans. I guess you could put them on the same line and then also bring in Kapanen. Could you play Kapanen on the wing? Who's coming out of the lineup? Harvey Pinard's injured to start the season, of course, but we're all assuming Joshua was going to get that kind of vacant, somewhat roster spot. So there's a lot of question marks, but for Jokinen to be this confident that Kapanen's going to make the Habs is really insane. And if he doesn't make the Habs, guess what? he's not going to go to the AHL. That's not even allowed. So it's either Montreal or he's heading back there to play first line as a 21-year-old in the SHL under an amazing head coach. Really great situation. I'm hyped about it, as you can tell. I'm like, this has psyched me up. Let me know your thoughts on Oliver Kapanen and this whole situation down below. What do you think of him? Do you think that he really could steal a Habs roster spot from someone come training camp in just 2 weeks? I'd love to hear from you, because that'll do it for this episode of Habs Digest. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. We're pushing for 15,000. I mean, if you're watching at this point and you haven't hit the button yet, we'd really appreciate it if you did it, because we got content coming every single day. I've been your host, Josh Gosse. I'll catch you in the next one.